Okay, so over the weekend I finished up the first draft of Saving Gabe. That's the second book in the Books of Joel series. Now, I did something kind of neat with this first draft. When I did Waking Anton, I kind of struggled a little bit in the editing process and getting the narrative rewritten. And this time, what I did is I had started off with doing some custom GPTs, just to see if I couldn't get a new narrative voice or some, a new writing style. And that didn't really work out exactly the way I wanted it to. But I had this thought, and that was bounce into just normal ChatGPT and see if it couldn't use my own voice. And you'll notice this is the way I talk to ChatGPT, okay? I start off with saying, "Oi, this is fun." See, I get it all excited about things, and then I tell it what I've been doing. I've been playing with rewrites, and it dawned on me that, hey, maybe I could do something different and have you do the rewrite with my voice. And then I kind of laugh a little bit. See, I'm injecting a little bit of humor and a little bit of personality into what I'm prompting. Then I ask what it thinks. See, I ask it what it thinks. All right, I'm trying to get it to respond back to me like it's a person. And I do that because, well, see how I phrase the rest of it just for kicks? I'm trying to get the bot to respond back like a person. So when you're all excited and everything about things, it's going to be all excited about things. When you use slang or when you use creative writing in your own style of prompting things, you'll see that bounce back to you, okay? So what did it say? Oi, sounds like a blast, all right? See, it's kind of mimicking me, all right? It's catching on to this whole thing. So I dumped in a chapter, and actually it's just the first scene of the first chapter, and it bounced something back. And it changed the narrative. And we won't sit here and go through the whole thing, but I'll tell you what, I kind of liked it. I liked it enough that I ran it through a few of my different rating and review systems, and it rated out much, much higher than the original. I was like, all right, well, let's continue this process. So I gave it another piece, and see how I prompt this? Let's try another piece, if you don't mind. You see, when you ask it to do things, it will respond differently than when you tell it to do things. Treat it like it's a collaborator, and it will respond like it's a collaborator. Be excited, and it will be excited. Do things like this, and you can avoid that whole lazy GPT thing you've heard about. All right, now go down a little bit more, and what did it do? It rewrote it for me. Again, we're not going to sit here and read the whole thing, but I'll tell you what, I liked it. I liked it enough that I went ahead and called in Chester. So what's Chester? Chester is one of the custom GPTs I've been writing, and its entire job is to rate and review different pieces of literature. And what it does is it breaks out the different reader types that it thinks would enjoy it, and then it rates it on 3 different metrics, 1 to 100, on how that reader type would like it. And then it adds the harsh critic. And we can see from this harsh critic thing, it didn't do super, super awesome, but it gave us recommendations for improvement. How do we make that better? Now, I'll tell you what, the ratings were better than the original piece I put in. So, run it through this, and I think Chester was right. That's what I'm telling it. I think the harsh critic's right, blah, 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 and we need to find the middle ground. Custom GPT agreed with me, gave some better feedback on what to do. I bounced out of the custom GPT and said, let's try another rewrite with all that in mind. And GPT said, okay, I'll do that. So I gave it that same piece again, ... for reference. It took it, it shot it out, and I'll tell you what, it nailed it. I put it through Chester. Chester rated it again, and we can come down to the harsh critic stuff. Much, much better than it was. We're hitting 90s, high 80s. I mean, overall, it's much better. Now, I can continue that process and continue it, but I wanted to just call that good for this draft, and I wanted to see if it would go ahead and do an image. Great picture for that chapter. Great stuff. So I asked it if we could do another piece, and this is what's interesting. I dropped this other piece in. It nails it. Well, first, it says what it's going to do, and then it drops out this revised chapter in my voice, and it went ahead, paused, created an image for it, even though I didn't ask it to do that, and it pretty much nailed it. I was amazed. So I told it that. Positive reinforcement. If it does something good, tell it does something good. If it does something bad, tell it it's done something bad. Take advantage of these little up and down things and the little notes, when it doesn't get things right. You're training it when you do that, okay? So it really liked that. I said, perfecto, let's give it another spin. We do another one, we do another one, and we do another one. And we continue to do this. Some of the artwork's a little bit stiff. I mean, it's not bad, but it has that fakey quality to some of it. I like all the background stuff. That doesn't look bad, but yeah, it's really nice to be able to get an image of something you're writing, especially if it's sci-fi and it's a little bit different. Being able to actually see the world that the characters are in is just fantastic. And then having it rewrite this stuff and add my voice, my humor, all of that to the narrative, and it's really awesome. This is interesting. In this particular case, it just gave me two images to pick from. Now, mind you, I never asked it to give me anything other than that first image. It just keeps doing it as we're going along the process. Now, eventually, after, I don't know, 7 or 8 of these, it got weird. It lost the tenses or something in this last little piece. It was all perfect until this one. It wasn't great, and I pretty much said, it was also really small, really short, and I was like, it had taken a while for it to load, and I started to realize maybe it's a bit busy right now. And I've noticed that when things are busy, it gives shorter prompts and they're not as creative or fleshed out. So basically I said, let's take a break on this and I'll go back to it later. And I hadn't really meant to start doing the second draft stuff this weekend. I really just wanted to get through with the first draft, but I had this idea and it didn't take hardly any time. And I don't know, I wanted to share some of that with you because you might be able to do something similar depending on the way you've used your ChatGPT. If it's starting to get kind of honed in on you, and if you've pre-prompted it right, you might be able to take your work, something that it's written, and have it write it in your voice, that kind of thing. Just an idea. You might give it a shot, and hope this helps someone.